Hey, what's up guys? Steve here, and today we'll be taking a look at the 20 highest selling Michael Jordan basketball cards from the 1990-91 NBA season. Like the previous two 1980s videos I posted, this will cover between September through December of 2022 when I was away from the channel. And we'll kick today's list off at number 20 with this 1990 McDonald's The Layup, card number 1. Ungraded, this card currently sells for between $4 and $8 on eBay. This was a PSA 7 that received 3 bids at an eBay auction that ended on November 22nd and sold for $26.99. I usually skip through these McDonald's cards when doing research for these videos because they are tough to find in a high grade, but I included this one in a PSA 7 in order to make an even top 20 list for you guys. Up next at number 19 is this 1990 Bulls Equal Michael Jordan, card number 1. Ungraded, this card currently sells for between $10 and $20 on eBay. This was a BGS 9 that received 15 bids at an eBay auction that ended on November 18th and sold for $35 even. The last BGS 9.5 of this card sold for $135.50 back in July of 2022. And PSA 10 has not hit the open market since February of 2022, where one sold for $2,000 on eBay. Coming in at number 18 is this 1990 Hoops Super Streaks featuring Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson with card number 385. Ungraded, this card will only set you back a couple bucks on eBay. This was a PSA 10 that received 12 bids at an eBay auction that ended on December 24th and sold for $51. The current average sale price of this card in a PSA 10 comes in at $46.70, while a PSA 9 sells for less than $15 on average. Graded just under 1,000 times by PSA, this card is a pop of 153 in a PSA 10, 414 in a PSA 9, and 261 in a PSA 8. And we're sticking to Series 2 of the 1990 Hoops basketball set at number 17, with this 1990 Hoops Michael Jordan's Playground, card number 382. This is another card that'll set you back only a couple bucks ungraded on eBay. This was a PSA 10 that received 15 bids at an eBay auction that ended on October 30th and sold for $53. The current average sale price of this card in a PSA 10 is $46.23, and you could pick up a PSA 9 for around $15. Graded 1,287 times by PSA, this card is a pop of 239 in a PSA 10, compared to 550 in a PSA 9 and 310 in a PSA 8. Up next at number 16 is this 1990 Collegiate Collections North Carolina, card number 93. Ungraded, most of the raw comps I was finding for this card on eBay range between $2 and $5. This was a PSA 10 that received 16 bids at an eBay auction that ended on November 19th and sold for $83 even. This Jordan currently sells for around $60 on average in a PSA 10, and a PSA 9 goes for roughly $15. There was a BGS 9.5 sale of this card for $72 in December, and the last SGC 10 sold as a buy it now for $200 back in February of 2021. Graded 547 times by PSA, this Jordan is a pop of 116 in a PSA 10 and 263 in a PSA 9. Coming in at number 15 is this 1990 The National Michael Jordan promo card. Ungraded, this card goes for about $15 to $20 on eBay. This was a PSA 9 that received 7 bids on an eBay auction that ended on December 11th and sold for $88.77. The current average sale price for a PSA 9 of this promo card is roughly $80, but there has been 2 different buy it nows in 2023 ranging between $130 and $150. An interesting note while doing research for this card, there was one PSA 10 that sold for $750 as a buy it now back in September of 2019. I would be interested to see what a PSA 10 would go for if it ever hits the open market again. While this card has been graded 102 times by PSA, that previously mentioned PSA 10 is a pop of only 1. The population reports are showing a pop of 39 in a PSA 9 and 51 in a PSA 8. Coming in at number 14 is this 1990 Collegiate Collections North Carolina, card number 3. Ungraded, this card will set you back between $2 and $4 on eBay. This was a PSA 10 that received 22 bids on an eBay auction that ended on December 11th and sold for $112.50. There were several comps for this card from the fall of 2022 in a PSA 10, and the average sale price comes in at around $85. A PSA 9 of this card currently goes for around $15, while the last BGS 9.5 sold for $45 back in 2020. Graded 530 times by PSA, this Jordan is a pop of 77 in a PSA 10, compared to 301 in a PSA 9. Up next at number 13 is this 1990 Collegiate Collections North Carolina, card number 89. Most of the ungraded comps I was finding on eBay ranged between $1 and $3. This was a PSA 10 that received 24 bids on an eBay auction that ended on November 2nd and sold for $113.35. This Jordan currently goes for around $75 in a PSA 10 on average and $15 in a PSA 9. There has not been a BGS 9.5 sale of this card since 2020. Graded 561 times by PSA, this card is a pop of 82 in a PSA 10, compared to 282 in a PSA 9. We get one of the rarest cards on today's list at number 12, with this 1990 Legends hand-cut magazine insert, card number 16. While doing research for this card, there had not been any raw sales over the past 90 days on eBay, and you'll see how rare this hand-cut Jordan is when we get to the population reports. This was a PSA 9 that received 16 bids at the PWCC weekly auction that ended on December 11th, and sold for $117.60. The current average sale price of this card in a PSA 9 is just under $80, and I was only able to find one comp for a PSA 10 that sold for $1,677 back in June of 2021. As far as today's list goes, this is about as rare as it gets, as this Jordan has only been graded 122 times by PSA, and a PSA 10 is a pop of only 3, compared to a pop of 37 in a PSA 9 and 33 in a PSA 8. Up next at number 11 is this 1990 Collegiate Collections North Carolina, card number 44. Ungraded, this card goes for about $2 to $4 on eBay. This was a PSA 10 that received 24 bids at an eBay auction and sold for $132.50. This was the highest PSA 10 comp from the fall, as this Jordan in a PSA 10 has averaged around $77. PSA 9 of this card goes for less than $20, while the last BGS 9.5 sold for $35 back in August of last year. Graded 560 times by PSA, this Jordan is a pop of 77 in a PSA 10, and 272 in a PSA 9. And kicking off the top 10 of today's list is this 1990 Hoops All-Star card, card number 5. Ungraded, this Michael Jordan card goes for a couple bucks on eBay. This was a PSA 10 that received 3 bids at the Golden auction that ended on September 24th and sold for $180. Keep in mind, this price does include a 20% buyer's premium on top of the winning bid of $150. Right now, the current average sale price of a PSA 10 comes in at $106.53, while a PSA 9 goes for around $20 on average. This Jordan Hoops All-Star card has been graded close to 7,000 times by PSA, including a pop of 564 in a PSA 10, 2,661 in a PSA 9, and even 2,324 in a PSA 8. We get another classic 1990s junk wax era Michael Jordan at number 9 with this 1990 Skybox, card number 41. Most of the raw comps I was finding on eBay were just for a couple bucks. The highest comp found for the fall of 2022 was a PSA 10 that received 45 bids at an eBay auction that ended on November 17th and sold for $256. The current average sale price for a PSA 10 is $211.28, $21.06 for a PSA 9, and a PSA 8 goes for around $10. Graded over 16,000 times by PSA, this Skybox Jordan is a pop of 1,340 in a PSA 10, compared to 6,088 in a PSA 9, and just under 5,000 for a PSA 8. Coming in at number 8 is this 1990 Hoops Sam Vincent, card number 223. Ungraded, this card goes between $2 and $4 on eBay. This was a PSA 10 that received 32 bids at an eBay auction that ended on September 5th and sold for $295. In a PSA 10, this card currently sells for about $158.42 on average. A PSA 9 goes for around $40, and a PSA 8 will set you back around $15. Graded 3,220 times by PSA, this card is a pop of 373 in a PSA 10, compared to 1,369 in a PSA 9, and 951 in a PSA 8. Up next at number 7 is Michael Jordan's base card from the 1990 Hoops Basketball set with card number 65. Most of the raw comps I was finding on eBay for this card ranged between $3 and $5. This was a PSA 10 that received 32 bids at an eBay auction that ended on September 1st and sold for $310. The current average sale price for a PSA 10 is $271.61. $21.09 for a PSA 9, while an SGC 10 goes for about $182 on average, and a BGS 9.5 sells for around $80. Graded just under 14,000 times, this Jordan is a pop of 604 in a PSA 10, compared to a massive 4,328 in a PSA 9, and even 5,454 in a PSA 8. Coming in at number 6 is this 1990 Hoops Superstars, card number 12. Ungraded, this card currently goes for between $2 and $4 on eBay. This was a PSA 10 that received 35 bids at the PWCC weekly auction that ended on October 30th and sold for $312. There was only 2 comps for this Jordan in a PSA 10 in the fall of 2022, with the other one selling for $296 in late September. PSA 9 currently goes for around $40, while PSA 8 will set you back around $20. Graded 1,312 times by PSA, this Jordan is a pop of 134 in a PSA 10, compared to 606 in a PSA 9 and 464 in a PSA 8. And kicking off the top 5 of today's list is this 1990 Fleer All-Star sticker, number 5. Ungraded, this Jordan goes for between $2 and $5 on eBay. This was a PSA 10 that received 37 bids at an eBay auction that ended on December 26th and sold for $540. The current average sale price of a PSA 10 comes in at $447, while PSA 9 goes for around $38 and a PSA 8 goes for less than $15. The last gold labeled BGS 10 sold for just under $1,300 back in May of 2020. This Jordan All-Star sticker has been graded over 13,000 times by PSA, and a PSA 10 is a pop of 645 compared to 4,496 in a PSA 9 and 4,640 in a PSA 8. Up next at number 4 is Michael Jordan's base card from the 1990 Fleer basketball set with card number 26. Ungraded, this card goes for about $5 on eBay. This was a BGS gold labeled pristine 10 that received 32 bids at an eBay auction that ended on September 19th and sold for just under $1,000. There were 3 gold labeled BGS 10s sold in the fall of 2022 with an average sale price of $770. The last black labeled pristine BGS 10 of this card sold for just over $13,000 in August of 2020. The current average sale price of a PSA 10 is $254, whereas a PSA 9 goes for around $25. This Jordan is a pop of 37 in a BGS Gold 10, with one copy graded higher with that previously mentioned pristine black labeled 10. Up next at number 3 is this 1990 Brown Kenner starting lineup Michael Jordan, card number 8. I was only able to find one comp for this Brown card for $10.50, while I found multiple comps for the action figure, including both the 1990 starting lineup Jordan cards that range between $45 and $75. This was a PSA 10 that received 22 bids at an eBay auction that ended on December 29th and sold for $1,031. This PSA 10 was the last comp I could find, and previously a PSA 10 sold for $1,525 on eBay back in June of 2022. A PSA 9 of this card currently goes for around $85 on average, while a PSA 8 will set you back around $40. Graded 624 times by PSA, this brown bordered Jordan is a pop of only 64 in a PSA 10, compared to 171 in a PSA 9 and 228 in a PSA 8. Up next at number 2 is this 1990 Skybox prototype, card number 41. Ungraded, most of the comps I was finding for this card range between $40 and $80. This was a SGC 10 that received 48 bids at an eBay auction that ended on December 11th and sold for $1,540.15. This was the first SGC 10 comp I could find. The last PSA 10 to hit the open market sold for $5,656 at the peak of the market in February of 2021, while the last BGS 9.5 sold for $1,239 back in May of 2020. Right now, a PSA 9 currently sells for just over $500 on average, while a PSA 8 will set you back roughly $130. And topping off today's list at number 1 is this 1990 yellow Kenner starting lineup Michael Jordan, card number 8. Ungraded, most of the comps I was finding, there was some as low as $20 and some as high as $70. And as previously mentioned for the last card, you can buy the action figure with both 1990 Michael Jordan starting lineup cards for between $40 and $75 on eBay. Graded 717 times by PSA, this Jordan is a pop of only 31 in a PSA 10, compared to 141 in a PSA 9 and 232 in a PSA 8. The highest comp found for the fall of 2022 was a PSA 10 that received 56 bids at an eBay auction that ended on October 26th and sold for just over $3,000. The current average sale price for a PSA 10 is around $2,500, as there were 2 other comps from the fall of 2022. One for $2,130 and another one for $2,425. A PSA 9 of this yellow Michael Jordan goes for around $200 on average, while a PSA 8 averages about $40. As most of you guys know, I'm doing a fall of 2022 recap for the time I missed when I was away from the channel, but going forward when these become monthly recap videos, I will be doing a video for both the 1990-91 and 1991-92 NBA seasons, as I believe there is enough monthly sales data for each. Thanks for everyone that joined me today, and I hope everyone enjoyed today's video. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.